queen, my queen. Oh, she, oh, she. Beautiful, wonderfully made. She's heaven's angel. So strong, even in struggle, yeah. When life comes like a storm from every angle, she rises above it all, the backbone of every home. Nothing compares to all she do. The true meaning of every family. She's the glue. Malcolm and Obama, yeah, and Jesus too. Oh, she's sophisticated, strong, simply amazing, humble, honest, and helpful, educated, ebony, eccentric, empowering. She's a queen, she's a queen. Better treat her like a queen. Oh, oh, Her strength is amazing. Life inside, 9 months she's carrying back to work, 'cause the family she's carrying. Society don't give her just due, but she prevails and stands tall, a champion, a true woman. But nothing compares to all she do. Yeah, the true meaning of every family. She's the glue. Yeah, oh. Where would we be without you? Yeah, you brought us Martin, Malcolm, and Obama, and Jesus too. Oh, she is sophisticated, strong, yeah, simply amazing, humble, honest, and helpful. Not only that you are educated, yes you are, eccentric, empowering. You're mine, she's a queen. You're mine, you're my. Treat her
Hello and welcome to Let's Talk with Bishop R.C. Blakes. R.C. is an author, empowerment teacher, and the proud pastor of the New Home Ministries of New Orleans, Louisiana, and Houston, Texas. His message circles the globe. His conversational and candid approach to challenging content makes him a relevant voice to all generations. Get ready for a life-changing transformational conversation.
Hello. This is R.C. Blakes Jr., and I am coming to you once again on this Monday night with Let's Talk with R.C. Blakes. You see these people behind me doing whatever they're doing. That's the way my family rolls. That's Lisa and my son Trey in the background. We are in Egypt right now, and we're starting the tour with the second group that are part of what I call the Royal Consciousness community that have made their way all the way here to Egypt to spend this next week with us exploring and learning. I get a chance to meet many of the people that are part of my digital family from all over the United States of America. And what a blessing it was to walk in today and to meet them for the first time. They had just gotten off the plane, and Lisa and I, of course, were already here. And it was just exhilarating to say the least. Now, tonight I have a great topic of discussion for us, but I need you to invite and to get as many people into this conversation as you can possibly get in here. I need you to help me with this algorithm because I think, to be quite honest with you, I think sometimes the content that I deliver is not favored by this particular algorithm. And it means that I'm going to need my community to go the extra mile to help me to make certain that the things we talk about and discuss on this platform begin to trend and reach and touch the lives of women and men that are not necessarily a part of our massive community already. Now, tonight we have an interesting subject that I want to discuss because it relates to relationships. And one of the things that I have learned over the years, one of the things that women are very, very, very concerned about in this community is how to do relationships properly. In this community, we're not around here saying, well, I don't want a man, I don't want a woman, all men are dogs, all women are gold diggers. No, we don't carry no pessimistic view of the world like that. We're around here trying to become the best version of ourselves, become what we want to attract, to show up in the world self-actualized, and then we believe God to manifest, right? We believe God to manifest the person that is proper for our lives. And so this subject is going to really resonate. And I want to talk about the attributes of a woman that attracts a faithful man. The attributes are the kind of woman that attracts a faithful man. Now pay attention to what I'm saying before you get triggered. I didn't say the attributes of a woman that makes a man faithful, because that's what some of you heard. I didn't say the attributes of a woman that makes a man faithful. I said the attributes of a woman that attracts a faithful man, meaning what? When he shows up, he's already a faithful man. Because a man being faithful is more than a man going home to his wife and not sleeping with another woman. Before a man can be faithful to a woman, he must first be faithful to God, and that man must also be faithful to his own personal dignity. When I came back to Lisa and said, hey, I I know that you're my wife now, and I really do I want to marry you. I came back with a mindset to be a faithful man because I had had an encounter with God, and God brought me into a realization of who I really was, and it was my fellowship with God, the Almighty, and my realization of my own king conscious dignity that made me a faithful man that was able to show up in the life of a woman and say to her, I am prepared to be a faithful husband. Why? Because I had become a faithful man. So I had to say that because, we get triggered and we hear things that are not being said. The attributes of the kind of woman that attracts a faithful man. I love what Proverbs 26:7 says, most men will proclaim everyone his own goodness. All men, in other words, talk a good game, but a faithful man who can find? The just man walks in his integrity. His children are blessed after him. Now, I also love because the question is asked, who can find a faithful man? And I believe the answer to that question, at least on some level of relationship, is the virtuous woman. I believe the woman that is truly virtuous, that is aware of who she is, queen conscious, in other words, is the kind of woman that attracts a faithful man. There's this thing where you can take a magnet and you can roll it through the sand, and somehow the magnet picks up on certain particles. I was watching this on television. It picks up on some certain particles that are made of metal. And they were trying to show how in this particular part of the world, how the earth is polluted with all of these metals. But the interesting thing was that when you looked at the ground, with the naked eye, it looked like dirt. But once you put that magnet to the earth, the magnet drew out of the earth what you could not see was in the earth. I believe a queen conscious woman magnetizes. I believe she attracts king conscious men that are faithful men when they show up. They're not men that need her to make them faithful, but they are men who are faithful when they show up. They show up in the relationship as faithful husbands because they are faithful men. But notice what Proverbs 31, 10 through 12 says, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. When a man has a queen conscious woman, he has the cream of the crop. But apart from when you think about it, looking from my perspective as a man, as a husband, as a man that's going to be 60 years old in a few days, I can't believe that. Apart from a man's relationship with God and a man's commitment to his own dignity, as I stated, it is a man's woman who becomes the MVP of his life's consistency. A woman, again, cannot make a man faithful, but the quality of the woman absolutely empowers and reinforces a good man's journey. Now, when I came back to Lisa and I said, I would love for you to be my wife. I'm clear, you're my wife. And she said, okay, I'll accept. I was prepared to be a faithful husband, and we'll be celebrating 30 years in October. Now, when I look at, you know, my life, my wife, I discerned the things that I'm getting ready to share with you. But beyond my own personal experiences with my wife and in our marriage or in our relationship, I've had the opportunity to observe other couples where husbands are faithful. And the things that I'm going to share with you now are things that are consistent from one wife to the next whose husband is faithful. These things that I'm going to share with you now are the things that I see in this woman's relationship, in this woman, in this woman, in that woman, in that woman, in that woman. Women who have faithful husbands, all of these women have these things in common that I'm going to share with you now. And the first thing that I've listed relative to the kind of woman that attracts a faithful man, that magnetizes a faithful man. Now, before I get into this, let me go back to this because I need to make this point. When it says in Proverbs 26:7, most men will proclaim everyone his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find. That is to also let you know that faithful men are not a dime a dozen. Now, I say that to say this. There are many of you ladies who are queen conscious, and you're trying to figure out why is it that the majority of these guys today are not pursuing you. And the world will tell you, oh, it's your age. No such thing, babe. Women in their 60s and their 70s are still being sexually pursued by men and relationally pursued by men. That's not the reason you have fewer men, reaching for you. And some say, "Oh, well, it's your size, babe." There's a man in the world that loves a woman at every size. You are the perfect size for some men, for a lot of men in the world. That's not it. Well, it's this or it's that. No. The biggest reason most women who are open to relationships and have, a pleasant, approachable demeanor are not necessarily approached as much as you see some of your sisters is because queen conscious women only attract faithful men, only attract king conscious men. A queen conscious woman is intimidating to the average man. So a lot of times, while you think it's rejection that men are not, pursuing you or running you down or screaming across the street at you, it's really respect. It's that they respect the fact that they have encountered a woman that is clearly out of their league. Not that you're better than, but you're different. And while you're taking it as rejection, it's really respect. Come on now. Your crown is showing. Your crown is showing. You think that, they're not saying anything to you because I must not be attractive. No, you're attractive, but your crown is showing. And people don't holler at queens. People don't holler when the crown is showing. I'm preaching better than y'all shouting. But number one, the kind of woman that attracts a faithful man. Who can find this faithful guy? This kind of woman right here. One, a woman that chooses a man that proves he has mastery of his sexual appetites. It begins, you start looking at a woman that has a man that is faithful, a husband that is faithful. Well, that began in the dating process, when the woman proved the man by testing his ability to master his sexual appetites. You see, when When I came back to Lisa, if you know our story, we had been dating for years, and at a certain point I said, well, I don't think I'm going to get married. God was really dealing with me. And then I got clear, understood what God was doing, and I realized that I needed a wife to live the kind of life that I wanted to live, a life above board and a life of integrity. You know, when I came back to Lisa, I had mastered my sexuality. Come on now. I had gotten to a point where I had learned how to be abstinent. I had mastered it. And so when you see a woman with a faithful husband, it is usually because she chose a man that mastered his sexual appetites even as a single man. Because the woman whose man is faithful chose him based on a very specific quality called self-regulation. I think for a wise woman in vetting a man, I think the quickest reason to get rid of a man is a man that cannot keep his pants up. Every time you walk out the room and come back, he got his pants down around his ankles trying to get into bed with you. Once you make it clear that there will be no sex, and this man cannot manage or regulate his sexuality to a point that he can respect your wishes, here you have a man that is struggling with adolescent, pubescent issues. Wise women don't go far with men who are off the hinges sexually. Every conversation you're trying to turn it sexual. Every time you're alone with the woman, you reaching for the woman's body parts. If a man is too hyped about fornicating, and if a man is too driven by sexual passions to a point that he can't think about anything else, a wise queen conscious woman understands that here is a man that is not mature enough to go into the next dimensions of relationship called covenant or called marriage. And she will eliminate that guy from the equation sooner than later. Because women who have men who are faithful are women who discerned that these men had or were matured beyond their base sexual appetites and had a little, or should I say even a lot more depth to them. But when you're around here and all you're doing is you're entertaining men that are just constantly trying to turn things sexually, and because of your broken consciousness, you find something flattering about a man that all he thinks about when he sees you is sex. You find that to be flattering. That's disrespectful, to be honest with you. For a man to look at you like you are a piece of meat or you're like cattle, and all he wants to do is just jump up and down on your body, that's disrespectful. You mean to tell me all of the dimensions there are to you? All this man wants to do is just think about the sexual aspects of you, and you're going to try to force a relationship with this man? This is why certain women end up with men that are faithful and other women end up with men that are serial cheaters. It's because usually when you boil the thing down, women talk about their type. When you boil your type down, the type of man you desire, most of these women say they desire, is not the type of man that's going to be faithful. Now, the kind of man that's going to be faithful is usually not the type of man the average woman desires. But the man that the average woman is throwing back, the queen conscious woman is interviewing. Because the queen conscious woman understands that she's going to need character more so than charisma. She's gonna need character more than 6 feet tall and a six pack and six figures and all. She can make her own money, right? That those 6 feet, as time marches on and we get older, those 6 feet gonna turn into 5'10". That six pack gonna more than likely turn into, a 2 liter. But that character becomes more and more attractive as the years go and march on. So you see certain women that have faithful husbands, it boils down many times to the fact that she chose this man based on the fact that he mastered his sexual appetites. And how does she prove that? Even if I'm a Christian, I know everybody that watches me is not a Christian, and I know that every Christian doesn't necessarily subscribe to abstinence before marriage. I think every Christian should, but every Christian doesn't. But I think even if you don't subscribe to abstinence before marriage, I think as a woman, you should be smart enough to use abstinence as a means of testing the maturity of a man. If I were a woman and if I had something as valuable as, what y'all got, you know what it is, I can't say it. I would definitely test the character of a man and tell him you ain't getting none of this here. If I know that all you want is sweet potato pie, and I know I got the best sweet potato pies in the city, and I'm trying to figure out why you really here, the first thing I'm going to tell you is you can't have no sweet potato pie now. That's the first thing. I don't know what you're here for, but you can't have no sweet potato pie. And the queen conscious woman at least puts the man through a test to make certain that his motivation is not just the conquering of her body or sexual conquest, and that this man does have the ability to control himself and to be self-regulated. I love what 1 Corinthians 13 and 11 says in the New International Version. It says, when I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child, but when I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. And when you see a man 40 years old, 30 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old, and all he got on his mind is sex, that's a child. That's a grown boy. Grown men have more on their mental agenda than sex. If a man is not mature enough to control his sexual desires as a single man, here it is. If he can't control, if you can't say to a guy, you ain't getting no sweet potato pie, and he still show up, and he still maintain the same energy, and he's still interested, and he's still invested, and he's not having withdrawals and all of this kind of stuff. If a man can't control himself sexually as a single to abstain, well, that's the spirit of lust. That's the childish spirit of lust. And what happens if you should happen to marry such a guy? The spirit of lust does not leave such a man. It moves from lusting to fornicate with you to now lusting to commit adultery with others. And so if he does not have sexual discipline or regulation in the dating phase, he more than likely is not going to have sexual regulation in the married phase. Okay, praise the Lord. Now, a woman who has a man that is faithful, usually knowingly or unknowingly, has tested his sexual discipline again through abstinence. Y'all around here that's just giving all this away. You just giving this away. You just slicing up the pie. You just got you just Come on, man. And you trying to figure out why you getting horrible outcomes, and then you want to push back on me, and you want to go listen to these other folk who ain't never been married, don't have no wife, don't have no husband to speak of nowhere. And you won't tell me how it's supposed to be done. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. I'm not going to go there tonight. If a man cannot control himself when single, he won't be able to control the temptation to commit adultery after marriage. So when you see a woman with a man that is faithful, usually that woman has tested that man's sexual disciplines prior to marriage. Because if a man can control himself to abstain and to wait until a woman is comfortable, that same man will be able to control himself sexually after the marriage to stay within the framework of the covenant. This is why Proverbs 31:10 again says, "Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies." And I believe part of the price of a virtuous woman it's the price of sexual access, being able to pay the price of sexual access being denied until the virtuous woman, consents. A man that can pass this test proves worthy of consideration. Now, in today's culture of women especially has ruined the vetting process when women are becoming more sexually aggressive than the men. So when you see a woman, the kind of woman that would attract a faithful man, she's the kind of woman that is going to test that man's sexual maturity and discipline through abstinence. Now, you can't test a man's sexual discipline if you are undisciplined sexually. And that's a lie that we believe, that women don't enjoy or desire sex. Today, I see women running behind the sex sometimes harder than the men. Well, if you're rocking like that, you just kind of like in trouble. But when you see a woman that has a man that's faithful, in most cases, she has tested that man's sexual discipline through abstinence. Number two, she's a woman. Okay, I love this one right here. This one here is huge right here. She's a woman that holds him accountable. When you see a woman that has a man that is faithful, she is a woman that holds him accountable. You see, queens are smart women who deal with their men logically when necessary. See, queens are not women that's just around here batting their eyes and popping all this gum and everything and lips all greasy and just clueless. No, no, no. Queens are women who are emotional, but they learn how to move out of the emotion, and they learn how to deal with their man logically when necessary. So here's a statement that we make in queenology. Queens ask questions, and questions reveal secrets. Queens pay attention, and queens insert themselves into their men's lives. A man is not, when you see a woman that has a faithful man, there you have a woman who is doing her investigative work. She did her investigative work prior to the marriage, and she continues her investigative work after the marriage. She holds her man accountable. Nothing gets under my skin more than women who give a man 10 years of your life, and then when you suspect that he's cheating on you with somebody else. Now you around here, you got private investigators, you Googling, but you didn't Google when you were dating. You've been around here with this man for 10 years and you ain't did no Googling. You had to see something that kind of clued you in that maybe he doing something untoward, and now you doing the investigation. Well, see, a queen conscious woman, she gonna do her investigation before, during, and after. She's not gonna be caught in the dark, because queens ask questions. And a man that gets involved with a queen conscious woman understands that she will politely and respectfully require answers to everything concerning his life. Lisa Blakes knows everything about me. Everything. Lisa knows more about me than I know about myself. I don't make no difference. No, don't make no difference how much you say. Well, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. No, no, no. I'm getting involved in this here. She gonna know everything, and that's something I find to be consistent with women who have men that are faithful. Women who have men that are faithful are women who hold their men accountable. Now, please don't misunderstand. I'm not saying they're overbearing and they just sitting around, just all up under the man, because if you're ever around Lisa and I, you'll notice that you ain't got to worry about nothing. Lisa, she over on that side of the room talking to them. I'm over here talking. We taking pictures and everything. People call Lisa to get in touch with me because I don't answer my phone. So it's not like these women are worried about their man. No, no, no. They're very confident, but they cover their bases and they hold their men accountable. Queens ask questions that only kings can answer. Queens are not going to have, watch this, listen to this very carefully. Queens are not going to have a concern on their mind about their man and just let it fester. No, she's gonna ask a question. Now, what about this here? I saw this here. Tell me about that. What's that about? What's going on with this? See? And women that have faithful men, number one, a faithful man doesn't have a problem answering questions because a faithful man ain't got nothing to hide, right? Number two, a woman that has a faithful man, she's going to always demand questions. That's why she's going to ask questions. That's why the average man can't cut, he can't cut the mustard with her. It's because she's going to ask him questions like a Philadelphia lawyer, whatever that means. I just kind of heard somebody say that, so I guess it means something. But she's going to ask questions, you see. And that's something I find consistent with all of the women I know whose husbands are faithful. They hold their men accountable. A man can't just be doing stuff all out here willy-nilly. No, 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 no. His woman has questions. She gonna want to know exactly what. Doesn't mean that he's not the man, right? My wife has 1,000,001 questions, and when she gets through with her 1,000,001 questions, she'll say to me, now, at the end of the day, I submit to you, you're the man, I'm going to let you make the decision. But based on what you just told me, I think we should probably think about doing X, Y, Z, right? But if you pray about it and you say ABC, I'll rock with you on ABC. Now, what happens is most of the time I sit and I talk with her and I listen to what she has to say. She asks all the questions she wants to ask. And a lot of times I rock with whatever it is she's suggesting, especially if it's, either or. If somebody you in partnership with somebody and they make a suggestion and, it's 50 in one hand, 50 in the other, rock with that. But the point is, when a woman has a faithful man, she's not in the dark. Any woman that's in the dark about a lot of things concerning your man, you got to shift the way you think. You can't shift the way you move until you shift the way you think. But women that really view themselves as the prize and understand, their queen consciousness, they are going to ask questions. Go to 1 Kings chapter 10, verses 1 through 3. It says, "And when the queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord, she came to prove him with hard questions. And she came to Jerusalem with a very great train, with camels that bore spices and very much gold and precious stones. And when she was come to Solomon, she communed with him of all that was in her heart. And Solomon told her all her questions. There was not anything hid from the king, which he told her not." So now here we see the Queen of Sheba establishing deep and intricate communication from her very first encounter with Solomon. She just meeting this dude, and she's coming in with, the Bible calls it, hard questions. Now, this is just a general principle of how queens enter into and function within relationships. You're going to have to answer questions. See, now average men, they want women that just, whatever I say, just rock with it and do what I tell you to do. Well, a king conscious man, he can't afford a woman like that because he has too many decisions to make. So he has to have a queen conscious woman that can make some decisions independently of him concerning the kingdom. And so quite often they find themselves, powwowing. Is that the way to say that? Because queens have questions. Because queens have to hold kings accountable. Why must queens hold kings accountable? Queens have to hold kings accountable because the decision the king makes determines the state of the kingdom. The children are linked to these decisions. The finances are linked to these decisions. No queen conscious woman is going to sit around here and allow her man to make a whole lot of willy-nilly decisions without holding him accountable. So when you think about women who have men that cheat, cheaters can't survive questions. Cheaters cannot survive questions. That's why he left you. You had too many questions. He didn't have sufficient answers for. Cheaters cannot survive questions. And so a wise woman, a queen conscious woman, never goes to the next step with a man that leaves a lot of questions unanswered. A man that can be trusted finishes the conversation completely. So queens ask the questions because if the answer is wrong, she's gone. And she's going to ask enough questions that you can't hide out in a lie. The quickest way to tie a lie up is with another question, and then another question, and then another question. See, there are too many of y'all that y'all ask one question, and then they throw out a nice elaborate lie, and you just accept that lie. No. You got to have another question to follow that one, and then another one to follow that one. And by the time you get to that third or fourth question, that lie is completely tied up. You don't even know where to start. Well. See, people play with who they know they can play with. The best relationships are built with the understanding that crossing certain lines terminates the contract. See, now that's something that, people see Lisa and I, and they say, okay, these are relationship goals. Well, I gotta tell you something about our relationship. We throw this thing out here, loving unconditionally. Well, I don't know if that completely applies to a marriage. You know what I mean? I don't know if that completely applies to marriage. I really don't. And I'll say it because I say that because of this. As much as Lisa and I love one another, as long as we've been together, I was aware the day I said, "Will you be my wife?" and she said, "I will." I was aware then, and I am as aware today, 30 years, almost 30 years later, that the moment I go out here and start sleeping around with other people, more than likely, I'm coming home to an echo. You know what that means? That when you come home to an echo, that means your woman done moved all that stuff out the house and she gone. At almost 60 years old, I'm aware today that this is a breach of contract that could end in the termination of the contract, and vice versa. She's aware of that as well. And so when you start seeing women that have faithful husbands, it's understood in that man's mind. Now you can get thrown off track and you cross this line if you want, but this may be the consequence. Now, I applaud people that work their way through mistakes, because sometimes people make mistakes and they mess up. I applaud people that can work their way through it, but I understand people that say, "I don't choose to work through it." I understand them very, very well. And men that are faithful are usually with women that ain't gonna take that. You see, like those of y'all that you constantly every 3 months you threatening if you do it again. Now you done said that if you do it again 20 times. How many times this man got to go out and sleep around on you, and you just constantly taking this man back to my, if you do it again, or flip the coin, you keep taking this woman back. She's a serial cheater. When a woman has a man that is faithful, usually that man understands that he is going to be held accountable for his actions. He ain't gonna get no pass. She's tough on crime. It's a one strike you out policy with a lot of them. Now those of y'all that just, you keep on, well, okay. Number 3, she makes herself indispensable in his life. She makes herself indispensable in his life. These are the attributes or the characteristics of a woman that attracts a faithful husband. And this is where she does him good. The Bible says in Proverbs 31, she does him good and not evil all the days of his life. And because of the good she does, he can't imagine his life without her, or the idea of someone trying to take her place. Lisa has done me so much good in my life. It's just always a blessing for me to be able to do whatever I can do for my wife. She's indispensable. She's irreplaceable. There ain't a woman, there's not a woman alive that could take the place of my wife. That's the role she's played. Like I hear some women that don't even, one side of your mouth, I want a husband. And the other side, I ain't helping no man. Well, you don't want no husband. You don't want no husband. Because you don't want no husband. Because when a woman is a wife, the spirit to help her man flows from her naturally. And it is the deposit that she makes into his life that makes her indispensable, And, I put a picture on, I put a picture of Lisa and I on one of the social media networks. And it's a picture that, a photographer set us up, say, you sit here and you sit here. And it's me sitting on the couch and Lisa sitting on on a rug on the floor by the couch, and she's leaning on my leg. And somebody had took issue with her sitting on the floor. Why is she on the floor? Why is she on the floor? And the thing these people didn't understand is that while you looking at a floor, you looking at a woman sitting on the floor, she really sitting on a pedestal. Because in my mind, there is no woman on the planet. See, in that, when I see women who have men that are faithful, this is the way their men talk about them. She's made such a deposit into their lives that the man, look what the Bible says here in Proverbs 31:27-29. She looketh well to the ways of her household, eats not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Her husband does what? Praises her. She's excelled them all. A masculine man is extremely appreciative of a woman that sharpens him and polishes him. It creates a deeper bond that cannot be matched. And so for those of you ladies who don't want to help a man, good luck. Good luck. Good luck. That's all I can tell you. Because this woman here lives her life with this man in a way that no one can compare. She's indispensable. And she intentionally makes herself indispensable in this man's life. You know, like you just to kind of ride on the women that don't want to help a man. Okay, well, let's say you get a great man and you don't want to help him. All right, you ain't got to help him. Okay, so you doing your thing, he doing his, and now here y'all 10 years deep, and his thing has exploded, and you have your fingerprints are nowhere on it on his thing. He got all of these other women and men in his company that got their fingerprints all over his life and legacy, and your fingerprints are nowhere. You ain't gonna feel good about that. Not if you're a real wife. Not if you're a real wife. If you're a real wife, you want your fingerprints on any and everything pertaining to your man and his success. I'll leave that alone. Number 4, she operates in her feminine more than her masculine with her man. Women that have men that are faithful tend to intentionally lean into their feminine, and she can afford to lean into her feminine because she has a masculine man. Women are attracted and women are attached to masculine energy. Men are attracted and attached to feminine energy. Now, wise women intentionally shift into feminine energy with their man because it never gets old. When a woman shifts into her feminine energy, it has the same impact on a man 30 years later that it had on him when they were kids 30 years prior. When you may be in your 60s, when you intentionally shift into your feminine with your man, it has the same impact on him as it had when y'all first met. A masculine man is excited by the femininity of his woman. It's like a drug that continues to draw him. And a wife using her femininity to excite her man is the legal version of the outside woman's seduction. What the outside woman is using in a demonic sense is what the wife has the legal, watch this, right and even responsibility to do within the marriage. When you find men that are faithful, usually these are men that have women who know when to back out of boss mode, and they know when to slide into their feminine Come on now. They know when to take the running shoes off they know when to go get a pedicure. Yeah. Number 5, and I'm out because I feel I'm getting in trouble here. Number 5, and I'm out. This woman, 5 and finally, she insists on women, the attributes of a woman that attracts a faithful man. She insists on an open door policy regarding communication devices. This is a day and age that we got to talk about communication devices, because things like this are what? Portals to the world, to and from. The world can get to you, and you can get to the world through this. So women that have men that are faithful, women whose husbands are faithful, can randomly use his phone without issues. You know, like Lisa reaches over me while we're in the bed and she grabbed my phone. So she ain't got to ask. Just grab my phone. She know the code. She get in the phone or whatever. Or if she don't feel like putting the code in, she take the phone and put it up to my face and make my eyes or whatever, open the phone up. She go on through to do whatever she want to do, you know. Because a woman that has a man that's faithful, woman that attracts a man that's faithful, is going to always insist on an open door policy regarding these things. Our phones and computers are portals through which Satan is sending messengers of destruction. Now listen to this statement very carefully, and I'm done. A marriage should have privacy, but never secrets. But never secrets. Passcodes and access to various apps should be shared. And a man that has a problem with that usually has something to hide. Now, please don't go tell your man that I said, I am not the boss of your man. I'm just telling you how I live my life. And I'm not saying that this is necessarily for you and your man. You know, y'all got your own arrangement. Please don't put me in the middle of that. But all I'm saying is usually, let's say that, a man that has a problem with an open door policy regarding these things usually has something to hide. And if you are a queen conscious woman, this should be a non-negotiable for you before you get married. This should be, if I were a woman today, a wise woman today is paying attention to how attached a man is to his phone. And if you're dating a man, you can't don't go sneaking trying to go through, because you shouldn't do that. Don't go sneaking trying to go through your man's phone because he's single, you single. You don't know who he talking to, right? Now y'all ain't got nothing exclusive or defined, and even if you do have something newly exclusive or defined, you don't know how old this stuff is. You don't know what pictures are in there. All this kind of stuff is a factor. But as a queen conscious woman, this is a conversation queen conscious women have with men. Now, you know, you say you want to marry me. Well, I want to say this to you now. The whole world can access our marriage by way of these things. If you're going to marry me, all of this got to be open. Mine going to be open to you. Yours got to be, and I'm not so insecure that I got to check it. I'm not going to be around here checking it. But I need to know that if I pick your phone up, you're not going to have a heart attack. Because women that have men that are faithful usually can reach and use these men's phones without even an ask. And this is why the Bible says in Genesis 2:24, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. I was sharing this with Lisa the other day on the airplane, actually, where the Bible says, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. That command to cleave is for the protection of the man. Because men that cling to their wives and their wives cling to them, 99% of the time are never caught up in scandal. 99% of the time are never taken over by lust, right? And so women that have men that are faithful, these are some of the attributes and characteristics that I find about these women. Now, it means you got to be secure about yourself, because when you start operating at a standard like this as a woman, you got to automatically know you're going to eliminate the majority of men, because the majority of men can't elevate to this standard because they're not king conscious. That means you got to learn to be fulfilled in your individuality, and you got to be patient and wait on God to raise up the right man that can meet you at this level of consciousness. Now, I hope that you have gotten something worthwhile out of our conversation tonight. Again, I'm here in Egypt and just want you to know that I love you. Now, listen, next month, July the 12th, they're having my 60th birthday celebration at the Ritz-Carlton in New Orleans, Louisiana. And I understand a lot of my friends are coming from different parts of the country. And then on the 14th, they're having for in honor of my actual birthday, which is the 14th, there's a brunch in celebration of my 60th in Houston, Texas. Those of you that didn't know, I live between New Orleans and Houston. I live in both places. And so you can go to rcblakes.com and you can procure tickets for either or both of these events. I'd love to see you there. I'd love to see you there. Now listen, don't forget to go into the description. Those of you that need counseling, go into the description and you'll find a link for BetterHelp Counseling. And I suggest that you utilize that. You know, having someone to talk to can make all of the difference in the world. Don't forget to pick up all of my books at Amazon. And those of you that have not registered for Queenology, the Saturday intensive or the all-white party with Dave Hollister, go to queenology.net and get your ticket now. We're going to be in Atlanta August 23rd through the 25th. It's going to be phenomenal. Thanks to all of you who have sown into our lives. Lisa and I love you with all of our hearts. We appreciate you so much. You are our family. And to all of you who are presently on this tour with Lisa and I here in Egypt, in the hotel somewhere, Lisa and I just want you to know we love you, we love you, we love you. It's been such a joy to spend these few days with you. And as we continue, and those of you that say, oh, I wish I could have been there, well, look out, because I think we're going to do this again next year. If you're not on our mailing list, go to rcblakes.com and sign up for the email list, and you'll get all of the information relative to the things we have planned. Now, if you have not liked and shared this message, shame on you. If you've not liked and shared this, shame on you. I need your help. I need you to go and like this right now before you leave out, and make certain that you share this. Now listen, you're on top, you're going higher. God has more in store for you. I'm R.C. Blakes Jr. saying to you all the way from Egypt on behalf of Lisa and I, we will see you at the top. God bless you. Until next time.
We here at RC Blakes Ministries want to thank you for spending this time with us today. RC and Lisa are always honored to have you with us. Don't forget to reach out to us by visiting our website at www.rcblakes.com. While you're there, you may join our mailing list and receive a free download of The Laws of Manifesting Your Vision by R.C. Blakes. Also look at all of the online programs by R.C. You may find all books written by R.C. and Lisa. Once again, all of us here at RC Blakes Ministries want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And as we always say, see you at the top.
Hello, family. This is RC Blakes, and I am so thoroughly excited. I'm excited because Queenology 2024 is coming back to Atlanta, Georgia, August the 23rd through the 25th. The host hotel is going to be the Whitley Hotel. Amazing. Women are literally coming from around the world. It is a multicultural, multi-generational, multiracial movement of women from around the world. And I want to invite you and yours to meet Lisa and I in Atlanta, Georgia at the Whitley Hotel, August the 23rd through the 25th for Queenology. For those that have the Royal Court package, it will afford you your entire stay for the weekend. It will also afford you a private, formal dinner with Lisa and I to open Queenology up. It also affords you admission to every event, everything that's happening for the entire weekend. Now, we also have the Saturday brunch and intensive package, which allows you to get into the brunch where Lisa and I will be sharing the messages that God has given us for 2024 to share with the ladies. This year, I'll have my own message, and Lisa will also have her very own message. It's going to be powerful. During the Saturday brunch and intensive, we're also going to have a very distinguished panel of men that are going to sit before the queens and answer the questions that women have always wanted to ask men. It's going to be amazing. Now, also those that are part of the VIP experience, there will be a time where Lisa and the ladies will gather in what they call, I think, the pajama party. And it will be a time where women will have conversation among women. I'm really excited about the culmination of Queenology this year because none other than the incomparable Dave Hollister is coming to be a part of our closing event, the all-white party. He's going to sing the Queenology theme song as well as entertain the ladies, the queens, for that evening. Queenology 2024 promises to be like none other. Those of you that want information, if you desire to be a vendor, queenology.net. Those of you that may need payment plans, queenology.net. Let nothing stop you from making your way to Queenology 2024 in Atlanta, Georgia this year. Tickets are going very quickly. I would love for you to meet us in Atlanta, August the 23rd through the 25th. Queens from around the world are coming. Queens from around the world are rising. It is going to be a coronation. It is going to be a crowning.